Alright, this is kind of like a tutorial of how to carve a Indian card, gambling card. I want to start off by recognizing that there's more than one way to do this. This is kind of just how I've come to learn. I'm also going to be learning with you guys, so bear with me. This is actually take 2 if I'm being honest. Just broke the first try. So yeah, I hope that you all have patience with yourselves, and if there's any time where you're too frustrated, take a break. But this looks like a solid piece. I think last time I whittled down too thin in some areas. So be cautious of that. Just make sure you have that consistency. Longer the stroke, the better. This is one tool that we'll be using. This one is rather sharp, so be careful when you're applying pressure. And this one as well. This is good for on the corners here. Same with this one. This one's good for kind of bringing down your edges. And this one's just kind of getting a lot of the different big meatier parts of the stick. And it helps to have like a downward angle. Do your best with trying to keep it away from you. And almost maybe even count how many strokes you make, so that way when you turn it around, you have a good idea of how many strokes to do. I believe that was 6 last time. And maybe even start developing a routine. 7 both ways, every corner. Make sure downward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Flip it around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, it's kind of consistent, more or less, at least keep it in your mind, and eventually it'll start evening out. Might even be good to wear a glove, because it's kind of hard. I mean, it's not breaking the skin, but it's definitely knocking on the door. That's a good grip. That's a safe grip. Balance. A little bit of pressure, but a little bit just like kind of let it take its own course. Balance is everything. See, it's kind of rounding out right here. I haven't really touched some. So yeah, after whittling it down for a little bit longer, this is kind of where I'm at, and I'm starting to like the width of this. Like, I don't want to go too small again, so I'm gonna just start shaping it now. Carved it down, shape's still kind of there, the square. And I think the ones that I've seen is where these ridges, these hard ridges, like I said, it's kind of in that square mode, so there's going to be 4 ridges. I'm just going to go ahead and sand them, or not sand them down, carve them down, round them off almost, and then that's going to create 8 different ridges, right? Because this is going to create 2, 4, 6, and 8. And then that's going to give us kind of like an 8-angled stick. I'm not sure if that's things that others would do while kind of shaping. That's just kind of what I see happening for this particular stick. And one thing that is important is that your sticks are as uniform as possible. because if there's any distinction, any good gambler is going to be able to recognize that and use it to their advantage. So no matter how thick, no matter how thin, no matter what shape you have, do your best to make sure it is consistent throughout your deck. And I think for this project in particular, it's just to get familiar with the process. If you do really well, or if you're really good at this type of thing, I'm sure you're going to use them. But like I said, uniform, most consistent as possible is the best you could do for this project. So look, a little bit of an update here. I think I'm really liking this width, and I think I'm ready for phase 3, which will be sanding. And I started to carve down some of these corners, then I brought them back out by just using a flat edge. This flat edge blade will bring those right back, and that is what I use to make sure that I'm as consistent as possible throughout it. It helped me identify kind of where it's thinner, where it's wider. And so now when I go into sand, I'm gonna spend more time right here, less time right here where it's thin, because that's this close. That's pretty close to the width that I'm looking for. It's kind of like the thinnest part, which I believe is right here. I also got to be aware of it breaking there. So this is, for me, I would suggest this is almost too thin, but this is good still. I think I can make it happen. Like I said, I'm going to have to focus more in these thicker regions. Right there, and even right here. I think that's a natural place where folks get super thin. So the ends here are what I think is the thickest. And then I'll sand it down. And the ones that I've kind of grown up around, this will kind of come to a point almost. It doesn't have to. I think that's just something I'm gonna shoot for because it's kind of what I remember growing up. So yeah, that's kind of end of step 2 in shaping. Alrighty, y'all. So we're looking at, so each package is going to have 4 different grades of sandpaper. I believe this is the 60 grit. That's like for your rough course, so we're going to start off with this. Then it gets to the 100, I believe, which is this one right here. That's kind of like your next phase. And then it gets to the 150, which is a little bit more fine, but nice finish to it. And then we're going to end with a 220 grit, which is baby skin soft. So that's kind of like a lowdown of what sandpaper utilities will have. And this is, I'm going to show you how I will do it. And here's my stick again. Nice kind of shape here. Obviously you got some blemishes here and there, so I'm going to go ahead and start filing it down. This is like kind of the rough sanding phase. There's going to be 4 different phases because we have 4 different grits. So you just take it one edge at a time. Apply pressure throughout. Like I said, I'm going to be focusing a lot of my energy on the edges because I noticed that that's where it's the thickest. Just want to have a consistent sand job. See how this is like a divot, nice little divot there. And so I'm kind of using that as my baseline of like, once I get it level with this right here, I'll call it good for that space. nice and rounded. I'm kind of going in and just kind of simply wrapping the stick with the sandpaper and kind of hold the grip with, this grip, and just rotate your hand while you're pushing in and out. That way you get a nice even sand. And just kind of observe and see where you have any straightnesses, or see it goes in a little bit right there, but that's looking pretty good. I'm actually pretty stoked. Nice and rounded. So I think I'm going to I might work on this inside right here, a couple blemishes, and once I work these two kinks out, where'd they go? Right here. Yeah, this little bit of a touch up. Yeah, I'm gonna move on to my next grit here. 100. This won't do as much like kind of movement. I mean like it won't take off as much meat, I guess you can say. This will really just make it soft and polish it up. And the further we go in, like up in the grit, the more smooth of a finish it'll have. So if you're looking to shape a lot of it, you want to use that early 60 grit, real rough, and get you where you want to be as far as your shape. And this other grit will just make it soft and pretty. And so, like I said, more than one way to do this, and it's just really up to your preference. Put your own little twist on it. And some might call that good, boom. But I think I'm gonna use every one of these grits just to see what happens. I think the more time you put into it, the more love you put into it, the better result you'll have. So yeah, I just got done using the 100 grit. Super soft, no slivers. And I got a couple slivers from just earlier, so it is a nice little process, but it's worth it. It's already paying off. So yeah, moving on to the next grit is the 150, and each of you will have this variety, which is nice. And so I'm just kind of still maintaining the same strategy. Nice round, consistent sanding job. It's really just trying to make it smooth and make it look pretty. And the more grit you have, the softer it'll make your wood. So yeah, I'm still just focusing on the edge pieces where I noticed it was pretty thick. This is looking pretty nice. This is the beauty of the old growth redwood stick here, is you get that tight bind, holds together real well. I think if you were to use a branch or just like kind of a new growth, it'd be hard to keep this kind of tight stick together. This should last you a long time if you take care of them right, and if you put a lot of time and energy into them. So yeah, I'm really liking this. And, you can go as small as you want. I think I'm just kind of maintaining this shape that I already have here just because I like it, really. Just think you're going to probably have a bundle about 7, 9, 11, how many ever you're able to kind of get away with without breaking any. I had broke one, so, if we give you a couple cuts, I think we plan on putting 7 or 9 cuts in each package. Cuts, I mean rough squares that we started off with. and how many ever you are able to successfully carve is what you'll have for your deck. I think something that I know from my kind of experience is that you want an odd number. I don't know if that's just a KARUK thing or if that's pretty consistent throughout all the local tribes, but be sure you learn that knowledge from a trusted elder and stick to it. There's no one way to do things, but it's important that you honor what your family and community have to say. So this is looking good. This is 150 grit, and so this is really just for aesthetic purposes. I already like my shape here. I like that comfort when you're holding it. And just put that good energy into it. Like you're doing this to have good luck, so you want to think good luck. You want to think good energy, good thoughts and feelings, and think of good people who influence your life, your character. Pretty cool. Happy to be a part of this process with you all. So we're at the fourth and final stage of sandpapering. 220 grit. This is super soft, super fine. This is what's going to be the final touch of the sanding process. And so yeah, this is really not necessary. It's just for that aesthetic purpose, like I've been saying. You really could have called it good a couple stages ago, but I'm going to follow through with the supplies that we are providing you all, so that way you have an idea of what you could do with it. And this is all just kind of trial and error. Like, I don't know what technique's best, but these are the techniques that work best for me. And this is super soft. I can't tell you how soft it is. You just have to see for yourself. No slivers are happening here. Super pretty. You can see the tight grain, super light. Yeah. I think this is going to take a lot of money here. So yeah, I'll do this for a little bit longer, however I feel, how much time I have here. And then we'll finish with our last and final stage. Alrighty, so we came a long ways. This is the final step of sanding. We started off from here, roughly, from a brink of a little block like that to this. Took a long time. A couple hours at least, I guess. Not too long. But using the carving tools, sandpaper, to this, I think is relatively simple process, time consuming, tedious, and important to take breaks here and there. I don't know if you guys are able to see that, but that's just kind of part of the process there. I broke one, so trial and error definitely makes a difference. And now we're at the final stage, and this stage here, step number 4, is only going to be done once, and that's the ace, the marking of the ace card. As most of you probably know, the ace card is what your opponent will be trying to guess. And so there's definitely different ways to mark your ace. One way that I've known is people would just burn it with a lighter here, but I don't know how safe that would be. Ask your parent guardian to help you with that. But another way is obviously just with the black Sharpie, make that line. You want to go dead center just because that's where you want to hide it. You don't want it to be seen. So dead center is what I would recommend. And like I said, more than one way to do all of this. Check with your elders, your closest relatives. Ask around. You never know, you might learn something new. I'll do the same because it's been a while since I've been around people in my family who do this. But see, kind of dead center. See how would I hold this? I'd probably hold it like that. Middle finger. So I'm just gonna mark it there. And then you can do a little bend. And like I said, you do this for one card only. You don't want to give them more than one chance to guess your A's. Just a nice, solid, bold line there. And like I said, you could burn it. Seen that done before. It's definitely more of a modern way. You could maybe even use charcoal, I don't know. You can make a design, shoot. I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of what I would do. Maybe even thicker. Definitely want to let that dry. So yeah, that's the fourth and final stage I have for y'all. There'll also be a brochure, kind of infographic in your package that will be there for you to refer to, just to have the 4 steps that we kind of went over. First, starting off with the shaping. Second, first step being carving, just kind of getting rid of some of this meat. Just think about it, like, starts off here, gets to this roughly. You gotta find this stick inside of here. So if you think about it, you're gonna cut these edges down. You're gonna really find this inner stick. See how there's space here? Well, you're just gonna find it down. Then you're gonna shape it, find that shape you're looking for. I kind of stuck with a 4 square here, and then ended up rounding it down to where now I have more of like a circle shape, octagon type of deal. And then just sand. There's four different grits of sandpaper that we'll be offering you all, so you can really have that nice, pretty, soft stick. And then you mark it. The fourth and final stage is you mark one stick, just one. Don't give your opponent any other opportunity to take your money. Just one right there. And so how many ever you are able to kind of finish and accomplish is what your deck will be. You know, feel free to reach out to any of your elders, anyone who you may know to be kind of an expert or somebody to look up to. It'll help you build that relationship with them and learn some new things, and also kind of express your interest in this thing, you know. So that's the point. That's kind of what we're trying to spread in these times, is that connection to culture, connection to community, and have a good relationship even in times of COVID, even in times of catastrophic fires. I think it's important to take care of ourselves, take care of our traditions, and take care of our community. And I hope that this project teaches you those important components of life. And if you'd learned anything from this process, I'm going to count that as a win. I look forward to hearing from you all, seeing pictures and videos of you kind of finding your way through this process. That's a big part of it. I'm looking forward to it. If there's any questions, feel free to reach out to Two Feathers on Facebook, Instagram. Even call us if you need to. But other than that, that's all we have for you today. And be on the lookout for any other project ideas that we come up with. And thanks for participating.